Thank you very much for joining us. So our very first story this afternoon, and President John Dramani Mahama has assured supporters of the National Democratic Congress that the party will win massively in the 2016 general election. Addressing supporters of the party on his arrival at WA as part of a two-day visit to the region, he stated that the NDC will win the 2016 polls with such a margin that the party's opponents cannot challenge the verdict in court. Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
Thousands of supporters of the National Democratic Congress converged at Bamahu, located at the outskirts of the Wa municipality, to meet the president. The supporters waited hours in anticipation of the president's arrival. Few minutes after 7 p.m., the president arrived at Bamahu, and all the perceived tiredness and weaknesses vanished from the faces of the supporters. President Mahama, in a short speech, thanked the supporters for the massive turnout and assured them one-touch victory in the 2016 general election.
In 2012, we went into the election, we got 50.7% of the vote, even though that translated into more than 360,000 votes, more than our opponents. They still went to court. This time, we're going to beat them by such a margin that they will never... So, I reserve most of my words for tomorrow. But let me thank you very much. Inshallah, by the group, NDC is going to win the elections.
President Mahama will pay a courtesy call on the Wana, Fuseni Pelpo, meet with members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs before climaxing his visit with an address at his flagship program, Changing Lives.
Well, let's get more from correspondent Rafiq Salam, who joins us live now from the Upper West region. Rafiq, so what has the president been up to today?
This morning, the president first visited the family of the former stalwart and Council of State member for Upper West Region, Alhaji Alasan Binsali, and then consoled them on the death of Alhaji Binsali. Remember, Alhaji Binsali died about 3 weeks ago at the age of 85, and so he went there to console with them. And so currently, he's speaking with the members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs, and he's been telling them the reason why he's in the Upper West Region, which has to deal with the re-election to lead the NDC in the 2016 general election.
Many thanks for your time, Rafiq Salam, reporting live from the Upper West Regional Capital. Wow. Now, a group calling itself the Coalition for Free, Fair and Transparent Elections is calling on the Electoral Commission to disclose within 3 weeks its budget and audited reports on the 1992 to 2012 general and parliamentary elections. The group is also demanding the EC reveals the total cost and breakdown of the recently held forum for political parties and civil society groups on the voters' register. Kenneth J. Crunchy is national president of the group.
Our concern is arising principally because of certain things that have come up of late. If you remember, during the recent forum on the voters' register, the EC invited some political parties to be present at the forum. Now, it has come to our knowledge, and in fact, it is the case, that every year the Electoral Commission goes to Parliament to requisition money to go on inspection of political party premises across the nation. So the EC is aware that in fact parties like the IPP, Independent People's Party, do not have a single office in this country and therefore do not qualify to be called political parties. Now, if the EC goes ahead to invite these organizations which are not on the ground but are pretending to be political parties, the next thing you can summarize or conclude is that the EC actually collected money from government, collected money from the people of this country, but did not go on the inspection tour. Now, I have constantly said that if I have somebody going to organize 1,000 separate activities or operations for me, and it turns out that that person on one particular occasion took the money but failed to deliver on the mandate given to the person, I have a reason to question the 1,000 other activities that the person engaged in. So this is the point we are making, that if the Electoral Commission collected money to go on a national inspection, but failed to do that, then definitely we need to also begin to look at all the activities of the Electoral Commission over the period, starting from 1992, to find out whether when they ask for money to do certain things, they actually do what they set out to do. So yes, ask for the budget, and then ask for the auditor report.
He further explains the move is to ensure that monies allocated to the Electoral Commission are diligently spent.
We have been funding the Electoral Commission and funding electoral activities since 1993, and really we've not been supplied with any audit reports as how that money was spent, whether it was diligently spent or it was not diligently spent. It's something that we should be tested in. Secondly, we are also making the call on the Electoral Commission to provide the Ghanaians with an itemized bill for the itemized proposal for the conduct of elections 2016. Because we have heard that the Electoral Commission is demanding an amount of 1.7 billion for the first round of elections, and if it goes into a second round, an amount of 2.3 billion. Now, if you come back to the 1.7 billion Ghana, the thing is 1.7 billion in the old currency. We are talking about spending about $30 per individual voter. If you are using a base figure of, let's say, 14 million people voting, you are saying the Electoral Committee is proposing to spend $30 on each person per one vote, using a figure of 14 million people. And we think $30 per vote really is a bit exorbitant, because the international average is $7 per person. So they need to provide us with an itemized bill, itemized proposal of why they are requiring the people of Ghana to pay $425 million.
The Ashanti Regional Police Command has arrested the Asawase constituency chairman and 6 others in connection with the murder of an NPP supporter at Asawase. Love FM's Prince Apia has been following this development and joins me now over the telephone with details. So, Prince Apia, what more has the police been saying?
I can say that in addition to Chairman Brenya, 6 others, 2, Awa Mohammed and Tankum Abubakar, were arrested because they vandalized the constituency office Friday morning. And the 4 remaining were arrested because, according to the police, they organized the young men, about 8 young men, to come to the constituency to drive away those who came there earlier to vandalize the place, which ended up in the death of Abubakar Sadiq. And the police are currently on the lookout for one Dunia alias Mohammed. For the police, he is the one, they confirmed that he is the one who stabbed Abubakar Sadiq, who when they engaged, the 2 groups engaged, he decided to run, so they pulled a gun and they threatened to shoot him. But Dunia came from nowhere to stab him on the left of his chest, actually. So that is what is happening here. That is what has happened at the press briefing.
Many thanks for that update, Prince Apia, reporting live from the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi there. Now, citizen vigilante Martin ABK Amido is accusing government of shielding some corrupt politicians who were allegedly caught on tape in the NAS's latest expose on corruption. According to Mr. Amidu, government's decision to expose corruption in the judiciary while covering up corrupt acts of some politicians suggests a deliberate attempt to misdirect the focus of the Ghanaian public. Jaunyan has more.
Actually questioning the integrity. He says it is therefore in the interest of the integrity of the petitioners, and here he's talking about Anas Tiger IPI, who petitioned the CJ following the judicial corruption scandal, to ensure that the wishes of the late Professor Mills are carried out to the full before Providence reveals them as a for-profit anti-corruptionpreneurs collaborating with established security agencies without any integrity themselves. And he quotes, Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. He also talks about the fact that as Attorney General, he had suspicions that the judiciary had been compromised. For him, it comes as no surprise at all that it's found that the judiciary, there's corruption within the judiciary. He says he had gone to the Supreme Court to nullify some of the decisions that were taken that were taken by some judges he suspected being corruptible, and he also had contentions that, in fact, some of the culprits that were let free some of those cases should have gone the other way. But always the problem came back to proof, because it was just a perception. There was no proof. And he also talks about the fact that people are questioning how this proof was acquired. You have some justices that are out there saying that it's been an infringement of the privacy, and that because the evidence was illegally acquired, it is not admissible. And he cites several cases, both in Ghana and abroad, that for him proves that it is that kind of evidence should be admissible, because for him, the disciplinary process, first to restore the image of the system, is more important than actually trying to get a criminal case or referring this back to the police. For him, he thinks that the evidence provided by Anas is enough to at least discipline the judges found culpable.
You're watching News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. We'll return shortly with a lot more stories. Don't go away. Thank you for staying with us here on News Today. Now, Deputy Education Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says Cabinet's position that students in the country's public tertiary institutions should not pay for utilities has not changed. Speaking to lecturers and students at the induction of the third Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Mr. Ablakwa said government will continue to bear the cost of utilities to lessen the burden of students.
We want to state for the records that Cabinet position on the issue of payment of utilities has not changed, and that government continues to bear the cost of utilities in our tertiary institutions. We have since spoken to the chairman of VCG, Professor Kupoli, and assured him that we have taken steps to rein in ECG. You know, we have all been on the back of ECG to be more up and doing and collecting their revenues from us. ACG must be headed to the Ministry of Finance, not our campuses, so that we can allow teaching and learning to go on uninterruptedly on our campuses. So we pray that the good Lord himself will give Professor Avoke wisdom, will guide his path, and will bless his efforts so that the University of Education Winneba will continue to make all of us proud, not only in Ghana, but in Africa.
Well, speaking on News Desk earlier, the Executive Secretary of Vice Chancellors Ghana, Peter Kaba, said they are yet to receive any official communication on the matter from government.
No, we have not had any communication from government to that effect. No, it is not for us to meet government on that one. It's an issue that is outstanding. So we were thinking of an alternative means, which was blocked by the students. So, I mean, why do we meet government when our correspondences have already have gone to government? So the government says we should pay, and the students say they will not pay. Then we'll find a way out. No, we are still waiting for government to call that forum, and then we'll together sit down and brainstorm as to how to overcome that hurdle. If the government facilitates that one, it will be most appreciated.
So as things stand now, what happens? The Vice Chancellor's Ghana, the various universities in Ghana, various public universities, I might add, in Ghana, are still having to pay for their utilities, right?
Well, we haven't had any communication to that we should pay. They say we should not be disconnected. That's what we have on our file. We have not been told that we should not pay. I mean, we have been told that we should not be disconnected with the Minister of Health Facilities. We have never been told that we should pay. If we are asked to pay, where are we going to pay from? Is it the student fees? Or is it, I read an opinion from a Chronicle this morning that the university should pay from IGF. What is IGF? What is IGF? IGF is just the student fees. They say they were making some calculations on sale of forms.
The minority NPP in Parliament this morning addressed the media on local governors and the recently held district-level elections. Parliamentary correspondent Elton Brobe joins us live with details of that particular press conference. Elton, good afternoon. Now, what more did the minority say?
Well, according to them, it's come to their notice that the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Collins Dauda, by a circular, a pause to amend Standing Order 10.7 of the Model Standing Orders of District, Municipal and Metropolitan Assemblies to enable an assembly to elect one of its members to preside over the assembly if the members are unable to elect a presiding member. I'm sure you're aware that the assembly are in the process of electing presiding officers, and the Constitution says that
Elton, if you can reposition yourself a bit, there seems to be a bit of a challenge with us hearing you. So if you could just reposition yourself, and you were telling us about what the minority said this morning in Parliament.
Yeah, I was saying that they are claiming that it's come to their notice that the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Collins, by a circular, proposed to amend some portions of the Standing Orders of the District, Municipal and Metropolitan Assemblies to enable an assembly to elect one of its members to preside over the assembly if the members are unable to elect a presiding member. That's why you are aware that the assemblies are in the process of electing presiding members. The Constitution says that a contender may have to secure 2/3 majority before that person can be deemed to have been elected to preside over the assemblies. And because some of the assemblies were unable to elect their presiding members after the constitutionally mandated 3 attempts, the minority is saying that the local government minister has issued a directive to the assemblies to do it by a single majority. And they think that this is illegal and unconstitutional. And that's the more reason why they held this news conference. And they are calling on the assemblies to reject this directive and a further directive to the local government minister, Collins, to withdraw this directive. Because according to them, it is illegal and unconstitutional, and whatever decisions that may be taken under this directive may be deemed as null and void. And if this advice they are putting across is not heeded to, they may go to court to seek an interpretation of the constitutional provision, because according to them, the local government minister is on the wrong side of the law.
I see. So what do they plan on doing? Are they planning on raising this issue up, particularly maybe on the floor of Parliament?
Well, for now, they are calling on the minister to withdraw this directive.
Okay.
And then if the minister is adamant, what they intend doing, maybe they have to go to court to get an interpretation of the constitutional provision that says that assembly members or persons who aspire to be elected to serve as presiding members must secure 2/3 majority and not an outright majority vote. Okay. They think that what the minister has done is illegal. And with the fact that he amended the standing order without due recourse to lay down principles makes a mockery of what is done so far.
Many thanks for that update, Elton Brobe, joining us live from Parliament there. Now, a group calling itself the Coalition of NDC Youth, headed by the untouchable group of Nima, this morning stormed the headquarters of the Youth Employment Agency, calling on President Mahama to remove the Chief Executive Officer of the agency, Vincent Kwagbenu. The group is accusing the CEO of being biased against Muslims and persons living with disability. Secretary of the group, Abdul Razak Issa, spoke to Joy News' Latif Idris.
Employment issue has become an albatross around the necks of every Ghanaian. You understand me? You could see there are a lot of thousands of graduates out there who are not employed. And if government has seen it as a good thing to do and has created such an agency to come and then salvage the situation, I think whoever is put in place to come and supervise that agency should do things that will actually be incongruent with what the government thinks. But we don't think Vincent Kwagbenu has that capacity. He doesn't have the strong mental turpitude in a person that we need to man this very, very particular agency.
Those are strong allegations. Do you have any evidence?
Yes, I think if you're judging from the records of Vincent Kwagbenu at the National Services Secretariat, when he was appointed to this agency, everybody said, oh, this man will come and then collapse this particular agency. And you also know that Youth Employment Agency, as it metamorphosized from JIDA, has become the household name on the lips of everyone. The moment everybody wants to talk about corruption, it is Youth Employment Agency, or JIDA, as it was. So bringing such a person who has that kind of blemish on his character, I think it is not appropriate. Apart from the incendiary comments, as I call them, he made against the Honorable Minister of employment and relations, you could see that he went further to make certain comments that are very alarming. For example, the president, through the Public Services Commission, appointed one Mr. Adungu, who is a person living with disability. He openly came to tell people, especially his staff, that he is not going to work with any blind man. And there was a particular day that the man actually left this premises to the ministries. That was in October. He asked the driver to come back with the car, leaving this poor man behind.
And I must say that I've been trying to get some thoughts on this particular issue from Vincent Kwagbenu, who tells us that, well, he's unavailable for comments now because he is currently meeting with the police. We'll bring you much more on that particular story later on, but we can now do some other stories. And the New Crusading Guide newspaper is reporting the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has cleared retail center Malcolm Plus to operate after it was reported in the media that there were deep cracks in series of columns of the company's building at North Industrial Area here in Accra. Owing to the media report, the chief executive of Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Dr. Alfred Okuvandapoy, and a technical team from the Metro Works Department visited the location and met with the management of the company to have first-hand information of the situation. After a walk-through visual inspection of the building and a brief technical meeting, the mayor announced that in the interest of all parties concerned, all necessary procedures that would ensure the structural safety of the building had not been compromised will be undertaken and followed. An engineer contracted to make a thorough assessment of the structure said the building is structurally sound and safe for use as intended, contrary to the news item that portrayed the Malcolm Plus building as being unsafe for use. You're still watching News Today here on Joy News Multi TV. We'll bring you a lot more right after this. Government's plan to turn around the fortunes of the National Electricity Distributor, ECG, has so far attracted interest from 26 local and foreign entities. The expressions of interest announced on September 30 this year will see a private player take over the Electricity Company of Ghana and manage, operate and invest in it for about 20 years under the Millennium Challenge Corporation Compact signed with the U.S. government in August 2014. Millennium Development Authority Chief Executive Engineer Ura Safuto joined news at an editors forum in Accra. ECG's suitors include 10 local companies and 14 foreign ones. 2 others have both foreign and local owners.
Latest on the expression of interest, what's been the feedback?
Well, the feedback has been very good. I'm happy to say that so far we have received 26 companies expressing interest. Out of these, 10 are from local companies, 2 are from local and foreign companies, and there are 14 from foreign companies, making a total of 26. But the expression of interest have not yet closed, and we believe that we'll have more, as we continue to receive them.
Now, the companies that have expressed interest so far, from your initial assessment, what do they look like? Do they look like significant, serious companies?
Indeed, they are quite significant. I will not mention names at this time, but we have received expression of interest from major companies who are interested or who are operating transactions of the nature that we expect to have even within the ECG concession.
How excited are you about the fact that we have some local companies also expressing interest?
Well, we are very excited because, as you know, the ECG concession arrangement has a requirement that there should be local participation both at the ownership and operational level. And so we are very happy that local companies are also participating. And we are also hoping that if any of them also will want to collaborate with other companies, whether local or foreign, to enhance their strength, that will make them even stronger to be able to compete in the way forward.
What are the next steps before we get to the point where ECG is handed over to a concessionaire?
Well, the next step is that we are expecting the transaction structuring report. When it is approved by government, then the tender documents will be prepared. And when the tender documents are approved by government, then it will be published. And when it is published, then we'll receive the offers, do an evaluation, go through contract award and negotiations, and then proceed from there.
There have been reports suggesting the state electricity distributor is being sold outright, but the Midday CEO says that is not the case, explaining that it will be given out on a concession basis, with the concessionaire making payments to government for the period that it will be operating ECG. Now, the boss of Africa's biggest mobile company, MTN, has resigned after the firm received a $5.2 billion fine from Nigeria. Chief Executive Sifiso Dabengwa tendered his resignation with immediate effect, saying it was, quote, in the interest of the company and its shareholders. The fine, which amounts to double MTN's profit last year, was for failing to cut off unregistered mobile users. The firm was given until 16th November, just 2 weeks, to pay the penalty. The company is, however, in talks to reduce the fine. Mr. Dabengwa's letter reads, due to the most unfortunate prevailing circumstances occurring at MTN Nigeria, I, in the interest of the company and its shareholders, have tendered my resignation with immediate effect. Sifiso Dabengwa has been in charge of the company since 2011. Non-executive chairman Puthuma Neleko has meanwhile been appointed executive chairman for a maximum of 6 months while the company looks for a successor. Now, Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, Moses Asaga, has said that deregulation of petroleum prices is the best thing that happened to the sector, explaining that the subsidies were favoring the middle class. According to him, the deregulation will help reduce the pressure on petroleum prices. He spoke with Joy Business.
We saw that there were constraints in a regulated market. And as I said, the constraints included the fact that we could not improve and expand the infrastructure that was needed, i.e. the mooring systems, tank farms, pipelines, BRV trucks, and then other infrastructure. Now with that deregulation, we got a lot of private investors to come in, including multinational companies, and like alluded to, companies like Glencore, Luke Oil, etc., had partnership with some of our bulk distribution company, and then they built these tank farms. So with the tank farms, we have increased the capacity of storage more beyond what Bost and Tema Oil refinery used to have. And Ghana can now boast of having more capacity in terms of storage in West Africa than any other country. Beyond that, we had to also make sure that importation of crude oil and petroleum products were not just limited to GNPC, to Bost and Tema Oil refinery, because there was a kind of a deficit in terms of product availability, and TOR in those days could not refine enough to be able to meet the demand in the country. So again, the BDCs played a very useful role when we lifted the restrictions on entry of private sector investors. So all this led to the market growing and growing, and as you just listed, approximately imports for petroleum products is of almost about $4 billion a year. Now the other aspect was then the pricing. The pricing was a controlled pricing where the MPA had the sole right to use the automatic adjustment to do the pricing. But again, there were times when there were government interventions, even when the pricing model indicated a particular price, government in its wisdom would always say that, look, this price hike would be unbearable to the good people of Ghana, so government was always coming in to intervene. But this could not be sustained, and that is the reason why when we had a lot of subsidies and under recoveries, totaling maybe 800 million Ghana cedis for subsidies and about $400 million plus for forex losses. We thought that we needed to have a second look. But like I said, even the subsidies did not go to the right people. The subsidy went to people who could afford. And therefore, there was the reasoning that we should now move away from subsidy.
Well, that's it for business. We'll bring you a lot more in sports right after this break.
My name is Baba Tando. Good afternoon, welcome to sports. Now, the Ghana Football Association's 22nd Ordinary Congress is currently underway at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence in Pram Pram. About 123 delegates are expected to convene at the venue to review the activity report for the just ended football season and to usher in the new one. Standing by on phone with details of proceedings so far is Joy Sports Benedict Osu. Hello, Benedict. What's been happening so far?
Well, Baba, you noted in your intro that 123 delegates are expected to be here. Well, but today, after the roll call, members present were 89 members were present here for the GFA Ordinary Congress. And I must tell you that the FP president, that's Mr. Nyantichi, who is the chairman of the Congress, in his welcome address noted, and that has been the highlight of today's Congress, noted that 3 newly elected IFA chairmen will not be sworn in tomorrow, God willing, because of their issues that are still pending in court. You can make mention of the Central Regional Football Association election where Roy Atta, managed to beat off the MNS-Do. MNS-Do has taken the issue to court, so Roy Atta will not be sworn in tomorrow. Same as the Volta region as well. There's an impending court case. And also the Northern Regional RFA elections where Abdullahi Al-Hassan, the young man, managed to beat Adam Munkaila. Adam Munkaila has also taken the issue to court. So what it means is that 3 of these guys will not be sworn in tomorrow. Aside that, the other newly elected guys and also all the other guys will be sworn into they're ushered into the new football season. So that's what's been happening. Also, they are going through currently. What's happening now is that the proposal of amendment. Some of the regulations and the statutes they are going to see if they can amend some. So far, as I was inside, the 3 that they proposed, some have been quashed. That they will still maintain the status quo for the FAU. So basically, that's what's been happening here today. Because the Congress is today and tomorrow, they are dealing with the first aspect, which is reviewing what happened in the last football season, and also look at the amendments of the other proposals, and also we'll have the auditors coming in, and tomorrow, God willing, will continue with the process. But I have with me the Vice Communications Director at the Football Association, that's Tamimu Isa.
Thank you very much, Benedict, for that. Thank you very much, Benedict, for that detail from Pram Pram.
Well, time now to check out the very latest in the world of entertainment, and obviously, who do we have here? We have Gladys Osei-Redu. Gladys.
Hey, Governor.
Yeah, you're looking great.
Thank you. You're also looking sharp.
So, what do we have in entertainment today?
We're looking at Batakari. We're talking beauty pageants, and of course, Joy is still getting closer to its listeners, and of course, multi-TV's viewers also. So, we'll talk about all that right here this afternoon. So, let me start with the Batakari, which is being encouraged for every Ghanaian, of course not just Ghanaians, but everybody who patronizes Africanity to also patronize Batakari as an identity, and it is fashionable. That has been hosted by World Bank Ghana branch, and they are encouraging everybody to get fashionable with Batakari.
What we are witnessing here this evening is what we call the grass is greener, Batakari, fashion and catwalk. The whole idea is to continue to showcase Batakari and the Fugu and the northern textile. As we said when this was launched a few weeks ago, this is all about poverty reduction. It's about providing people with jobs. And you can't provide people with jobs if you don't give them things to do. So there used to be a huge cotton industry which has gone down now. There is still a huge smoke and Fugu industry which could make do to be some of the raw materials from this place. But somehow, cotton industry has gone down. How can we bring it out? And we still use the smoke industry to cook stuff. That's the whole idea.
Well, no, don't worry about what I said. You know, the gas is accepted. The gas say Batakali.
I didn't say anything.
Accepted.
I didn't say anything.
Keep your laughter.
But I haven't seen you in a Batakali before.
Don't worry, I'll get myself Batakali very soon. But of course, you know, Joy, but you know, Kofi was actually talking about the need for us to also patronize Batakari in the northern region especially. It opens up business, gives more employment to the weavers. And of course, I thought I loved what I saw.
Oh, really? I did. I saw that. I don't know. There was this lady with this white and white Batakari,
well, of course, but I also saw a guy with a bow tie.
Okay.
You saw the ladies, I saw the guy. That's
Fantastic.
okay. Well balanced. Well, but let's also get to talk about Joy at the mall. Joy has embarked on mall visits. I started off at the West Hills Mall, went over to Junction Mall at Nungwa, and now just this weekend the way at the Achimota, and it was a spectacular moment with the patrons, the fans who trooped there at the Achimota Mall to have fun and get closer with their celebrities on Joy. What I loved about that was the security guy who won the singing competition. The guy can rap, man.
I just wish I could listen to some of his lines.
Yeah.
His punchlines. You know.
It doesn't matter. He won. He won the rap competition.
Interesting.
Sure. Well, but you know, there's been a lot of pageants this weekend. The Miss Ghana beauty pageant.
Miss Ghana pageant.
Okay, there was Miss Nigeria 2015. But let me first tell you about the Miss Ghana beauty pageant, which happened just last Saturday. A pharmacy student of Central University College, Atani Delali Emmanuel, has been crowned Miss Ghana 2015 at the Accra International Conference Center. After weeks of intense training and grooming, Delali emerged winner after beating 20 other beautiful, intelligent ladies. Ifwa Asiedua Akofi from the University of Ghana took the second position, and 24-year-old Rebecca Asamoah emerged third. Here are highlights.
A big strong man to rock my body. And if he's ugly, I don't mind. Look what you're trying, and I won't let you down.
I'm honored. I'm so excited. You have no idea. They should expect a good representative, somebody who is beautiful and somebody who is ready to win Miss World and bring home that crown.
Our best has been up to 3, the third position. Do you think you can go past the 3?
Yes.
All right, so that was, well, Delali, she really says it was.
But she's a pretty lady.
She is.
But she says they had to go through a lot. So I'm just imagining the intensity of the training.
And the training really must be tiring also in all aspects. Yes. Well, but let's go straight to Miss Nigeria, where we also had that. It happened over the weekend, just last night at Lagos Oriental Hotel, and Pamela Peter Vigboro Lisi, representing Cross River, emerged winner. Pamela was crowned by the outgoing Miss Nigeria, Ezen Ekudo. The new beauty queen went home with 5 million naira, a brand new SUV, 6-month skill acquisition program in any institution of choice, a year's serviced apartment, an all-expense paid trip, and she gets to represent Miss Nigeria at the Beauty pageant, Miss World, very later this year in China. Again, Delali also goes to represent Ghana later this year in China at the Miss World Beauty Pageant. And that's all I bring you today. I'll see you again tomorrow, Kwabena.
Sure. And I was glad to see Radio bringing us the very latest in the world of entertainment. That's it for entertainment. We'll bring you much more later on. Well, that's how we wrap up news today here on Joy News Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenchene Boati. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com, and indeed you can see all the many stories there, including the appointment of a new Chief Executive Officer for MTN. And again, we are told that President Mahama will be supporting Samonyoma's family with a 93,000 cedi package. The details of those stories and a lot more on myjoyonline.com. My name is Kwabena Chenchene Boati. Enjoy the rest of our broadcasts.